chosen one. Pause for a moment, yes, right now. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you to deliver this message. You are not scrolling by chance. This is your moment of awakening. The veil is thinning, and the Spirit of God is whispering your name through the noise of this world. You were never meant to blend in. You are not random. You are a divine assignment wrapped in flesh. Every moment of confusion, every storm that tried to drown you, it was never meant to destroy you, but to awaken what heaven placed inside you. The light within you has been calling for this moment, this realization that you are chosen. There's been something about you that even darkness recognized before you did. You have walked through fires others could not survive. You've endured betrayals, nights of silence, seasons of rejection. And yet here you are, still breathing, still believing, still chosen. The truth is, heaven has been watching you all along. There were moments you thought you were forgotten, but the silence was sacred training. The delay was divine preparation. When everyone else saw failure, God saw foundation. When you lost what you thought was everything, heaven was quietly rearranging everything for your rise. Listen carefully, your tears were not wasted. Every sleepless night became incense before the throne. Angels carried the sound of your cry upward, and heaven recorded your endurance. You've been through the furnace, but you didn't burn. You've been through the storm, but you didn't sink. Because God's hand was on you, even when you didn't feel it. Now, the time of revealing has come. Heaven is about to make known what hell already suspected, that you carry divine authority. The voices that mocked you, the ones that doubted you, will soon witness that what they tried to bury was a seed, not a corpse. God has been forming you in the shadows, so He can display you in His light. You may wonder why the attacks felt so personal. It's because the anointing on your life provokes opposition. Darkness does not war against the ordinary. It wars against destiny. The enemy recognized your purpose before you did. That's why every door seemed to shut, every friend turned away, every promise delayed. But the delay was not denial. It was preservation. Heaven protected you from premature exposure because your roots needed depth before your branches could bear fruit. Chosen one. It's time to rise in awareness. You are not small, and you are not forgotten. You are the one God whispered about before the foundation of the world. The one He hid until now. The one carrying an assignment too heavy for shallow faith. You are the reason battles intensified. Because hell doesn't fight empty vessels, it fights carriers of glory. You must know this: the season you are stepping into is not for those who doubt their calling. It's for those who dare to believe that even after being broken, they can still be used. God specializes in using the shattered to show His strength. He chooses the underestimated so that His glory cannot be shared. That is why you were chosen, not because of perfection, but because of purpose. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you a prophet to nations. This has always been your truth. You were known before you ever spoke a word. You were chosen before you ever fought a battle. And now, heaven is awakening that divine memory inside you. You are stepping into alignment with what has always been written about you. The time of questioning has ended. The time of becoming has begun. And as that realization settles in your spirit, you begin to feel the weight of heaven's hand resting on your shoulders. The very air around you shifts, charged with purpose and divine certainty. You start to sense that your story is sacred, that every scar has been recorded in heaven's scroll as evidence of endurance. This is more than awakening. This is activation. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is stirring within you, reminding you that you were never meant to live in hiding. The time has come to walk boldly in your calling, radiant with divine fire, unstoppable and seen. Before you scroll away, pause. Type 777 in the comments as a prophetic act symbolizing divine completion and new beginnings. Like this message if it resonates with your spirit. Share it so another warrior may awaken, and subscribe to stay connected to future words of revelation. Your obedience in this moment is a declaration: I am ready to rise. Because this is not the end of your story, it is the moment heaven spoke your name aloud. Chosen one, you have been marked by fire, not by failure. Everything that was meant to destroy you became the very forge that shaped your strength. You are standing today not because life was easy, but because heaven sustained you. There were seasons when the flames rose high around you, when people walked away, and the ground beneath you trembled. Yet through every burning test, something in you refused to die. That something was divine, the mark of the living God upon your spirit. You have walked through fire and discovered that pain has a purpose. Fire does not come to consume the chosen, it comes to confirm them. Every time you thought you were finished, the fire revealed a deeper layer of strength, a hidden anointing that could only be uncovered in the heat of trial. You were being refined, not rejected. Heaven trusted you with struggle because glory needed somewhere to dwell, and only the refined can carry it without breaking. Remember those nights when your prayers felt unanswered, when heaven seemed silent, and you wondered if God had forgotten your name in those moments. Heaven was closer than you realized. The silence was not neglect. It was the sound of divine craftsmanship. God was molding you quietly, teaching you to hear his whisper in the midst of the storm. Every disappointment trained your discernment. Every loss taught you how to see through spiritual eyes. You learned that faith is not proven when everything works. It's proven when nothing makes sense, and yet you still believe. You have been marked. The evidence of it is written all over your life: the way you rise when others fall, the way peace still finds you even when the world collapses around you. The fire did not erase you. It etched heaven's signature deeper into your being. You are now proof that endurance is holy. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 38. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water. That same consuming fire that fell on the altar in Elijah's day now burns within you. It is not a fire that destroys, it is a fire that defines. It clarifies what is real and what is false. It purges fear, pride, and doubt, until only truth remains. The trials you faced were not random, they were divine encounters disguised as pain, meant to awaken your spiritual identity. You have been chosen to carry this inner flame into a dark world, to remind others that brokenness is not the end, it is the beginning of transformation. Many will look at you and wonder how you are still standing. They will see the ashes of what was and miss the beauty of what is emerging. But heaven knows. Heaven saw you refuse to curse God in the fire. Heaven saw you bless his name through tears. Heaven saw you forgive when betrayal was still fresh. Every act of obedience in the heat of suffering became an offering that drew divine favor closer. Now you are different. You no longer fear what once frightened you. The same pain that once paralyzed you has now become your proof of purpose. Your scars are no longer symbols of shame, they are seals of survival. Divine reminders that even in the fire, God was there. The flames never had permission to consume you, only to reveal what cannot be burned: your calling, your faith, your light. You are not defined by what was lost. You are refined by what remained. The people who left, the dreams that crumbled, the doors that closed, all were part of the purification process. You had to be stripped of what was temporary so you could carry what is eternal. There is a purity about you now, a spiritual weight that others can feel. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift because you have been in the fire with God and come out carrying His fragrance. Chosen one. Understand this clearly: the mark you carry is not a curse, it is your crown. The trials have not diminished your worth, they have magnified your authority. You have proven through the flames that your faith is genuine. Heaven applauds the endurance of those who did not quit when the fire got hot. From the very beginning, darkness recognized you. Before you even knew the weight of your own purpose, the enemy saw it and trembled. There is a reason your life has never been ordinary. From childhood, you felt different, misunderstood, even targeted. The storms that surrounded you were not random. They were reactions. The enemy saw the light that heaven placed in you and sought to extinguish it before it could mature. But he failed, because what is divinely chosen cannot be destroyed, only delayed until the appointed time. You see, chosen one, the warfare you faced was spiritual recognition. The darkness marked you early because you were destined to be a disruptor of its kingdom. Every setback, every betrayal, every invisible battle was hell's desperate attempt to contain the glory that was being formed in you. You wondered why it was always you, why peace never seemed to last long, why relationships crumbled, why sudden heaviness fell without warning. It's because darkness detected your assignment long before you did. But here's what the enemy underestimated: your resilience. What he thought would break you only taught you how to fight. What he sent to silence you became the sound of your awakening. You have walked through pits and prisons, yet none could hold you, because the anointing on your life is louder than the voice of defeat. Every time you rose from what should have ended you, the kingdom of darkness lost ground. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, the word of God declares in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Even when you didn't see it, heaven was fighting for you. Angels surrounded you in unseen battles. God Himself stood between you and destruction. What looked like delay was divine protection. When people betrayed you, heaven built a shield around your heart. When opportunities closed, God blocked them because they would have cost you your calling. Nothing about your journey has been wasted. Every pain has become prophecy in progress. And now, as your awareness deepens, you begin to realize something powerful. Darkness targeted you because light chose you first. The enemy attacks what threatens him. The stronger the opposition, the greater the confirmation of your destiny. You were not being punished. You were being proven. The chaos around you was never evidence of God's absence, it was proof of His investment in you. Chosen one. Hear this: the enemy cannot curse what God has blessed. He cannot destroy what heaven has sealed. The fact that you're still here, still breathing, still believing, is testimony enough that divine power runs through you. You have survived things that would have crushed others because you were never meant to be common. You carry a spiritual signature that darkness recognizes on sight, a mark of divine authority that commands fear in unseen realms. So stop questioning why you were chosen for the fight. You were built for it. You were fashioned in warfare, trained in tears, and shaped by grace. The battle didn't come to expose your weakness, it came to announce your power. Every season of warfare has been training ground for the authority you now walk in. And now the tables have turned. Where once you were the hunted, you are now becoming the hunter. The same darkness that tormented you will flee at your command. You will no longer react to the enemy's moves. You will disrupt them. You will carry light so strong that it exposes deceit before it reaches your doorstep. Pause right now and declare this truth with your action. Comment, "I stand firm." That simple phrase isn't just words, it's an act of spiritual alignment. When you type those words, you are declaring before heaven and hell alike that your days of retreat are over. You are choosing to stand in authority, no longer intimidated by shadows, no longer deceived by delay. You are making it known that the same God who fought for you in silence will now fight through you in power. You are not who you were last season. Every scar you carry is now a sword. Every tear has become oil for your anointing. The very presence of darkness around you confirms that light is expanding within you. You have survived because you are not finished. The enemy has exhausted his strategies, but heaven is just beginning to reveal yours. Chosen one. Your awakening terrifies darkness. It has always feared this moment, the day you'd realize your identity. Now you do. And that realization is the end of every chain, every curse, every false narrative that ever tried to define you. From this day forward, and you walk not as a survivor, but as a ruler in divine authority. The season of exposure has begun. Heaven is uncovering what was hidden, peeling back layers of deception that have long surrounded you. For years, it seemed that those who plotted against you prospered, that lies overshadowed truth, and that the wicked went unchallenged. But the time of quiet observation is over. The righteous judge has risen from his throne, and his eyes are moving across the earth to separate truth from illusion. Nothing concealed will remain so, and no false word spoken against you will stand. You have been patient, enduring slander and misunderstanding, waiting for the moment when God himself would intervene. That moment is here. Heaven's light is sweeping across the landscape of your life, exposing what was whispered in secret, revealing motives that were masked in charm. The masks are slipping, and those who once smiled in your presence while plotting your downfall are being unmasked by divine justice. Do not mistake this season for revenge. It is revelation. God is not exposing to destroy. He is exposing to free. You have carried the weight of other people's deceit for too long, and heaven has declared, enough. What was meant to silence you will now serve as the stage where truth is displayed. You will not have to defend yourself because truth will speak louder than any accusation ever could. It is written in the book of Luke, chapter 8, verse 17. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. These words now echo in your season. Everything that was buried, every false intention, every secret plot, every hidden agenda is being brought into the light. The same mouths that lied about you will speak your vindication. The same hands that tried to push you down will witness your rise. What was done in the shadows will now face the brilliance of divine truth. But exposure is not only for others, it is also for you. God is shining light into the corners of your heart, revealing where pain has disguised itself as strength, where disappointment has hidden behind busyness, where self-protection has masqueraded as discernment. Heaven exposes not to shame you, but to heal you. What is revealed can finally be restored. You are being purified not only from external deception, but from the internal residue of past wounds. This is the mercy of exposure. It brings freedom. It ends confusion. It draws a clear line between what is divine and what is counterfeit. You will begin to sense it everywhere now, people's true intentions becoming clearer. Spiritual atmospheres shifting, conversations revealing hearts. Don't resist it. Don't cling to what God is unveiling as false. Let truth do its work. Let divine light separate wheat from chaff, so that your path forward is free of mixture. Chosen one, you have cried for clarity, and heaven has answered. You asked God to show you who is for you and who is against you, and that prayer is now unfolding. But be prepared, for the answers may surprise you. Sometimes the ones you trusted most will be revealed as hindrances, and those you dismissed will carry hidden loyalty. Let every revelation be met with peace, not bitterness. Remember, exposure is not punishment, it is positioning. God is positioning you for your next assignment, and He cannot allow false alliances to go with you. The shaking that's happening around you is divine. Do not try to hold together what God is allowing to fall apart. Some relationships, opportunities, and affiliations were only meant for a past season. This new chapter demands purity of heart and alignment of purpose. Let the light do what it was sent to do, illuminate. There is also exposure happening in your spiritual perception. You are beginning to see things more clearly, hidden patterns, disguised distractions. Spiritual cycles that used to confuse you now make perfect sense. You are not losing your mind. You are gaining sight. The veil is lifting, and discernment is sharpening. You will no longer be easily deceived by appearances, for you now recognize the vibration of truth when it speaks. Heaven's agenda is justice, not humiliation. Those who have secretly manipulated, lied, or taken advantage of your kindness are now facing what they sowed. But you, chosen one, must stand still and trust the process. Your role is not to expose, it is to remain pure while God reveals. The very exposure that unmasks others will also elevate you. For when truth is revealed, authenticity always rises. Soon, people will come to you, apologizing for believing the lies, seeking to reconnect, trying to explain. Handle them with grace. Let mercy flow where malice once stood. For God is watching the posture of your heart in this moment. Vindication is not complete when truth is revealed, it is complete when your response reflects heaven's maturity. So rest. Let light do what it does best, reveal, heal, and restore. You are standing in the dawn of divine exposure. Everything hidden will be known, and everything known will work for your good. The night of confusion is ending, and truth pure, unfiltered truth is breaking through like morning light upon your path. Heaven keeps the receipts, chosen one. Every tear you've cried, every word spoken against you, every injustice endured, it has all been recorded. Nothing escaped the gaze of the one who sits enthroned above time. You may have thought your pain was forgotten, but heaven has documentation. Every act of cruelty, every betrayal, every false accusation has been written in the divine archive. The ledger of heaven is not filled with vengeance. It is filled with justice. There were moments when you said, God, did you see that? Did you hear what they said about me? And the heavens seemed silent. But silence does not mean blindness. Heaven saw it all. Every unseen kindness you offered, every sacrifice you made in secret, every time you chose forgiveness instead of retaliation, all of it was noted. God keeps meticulous records, not to punish, but to redeem. When the appointed time comes, He balances the scales with perfect precision. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. That image alone should bring you comfort. Every tear, a pearl in God's bottle. Every sigh, a note in heaven's song. Nothing has been wasted. The pain that once felt unbearable has become evidence of your faithfulness. You thought you were breaking, but in truth, you were being written into eternity's testimony. There is something sacred about divine accounting. Heaven's justice doesn't operate on human timelines. You may not see the balancing today or tomorrow, but when God moves, it will be in fullness. He restores not in fragments but in overflow. The people who hurt you may have walked away unbothered, but the clock of divine recompense began ticking the moment they acted. And when it strikes, heaven does not miss. Chosen one, you must understand forgiveness is not the same as forgetfulness. You can forgive while still trusting that God will bring justice. Forgiveness is how you release the poison. Justice is how God restores the order. When you chose mercy instead of bitterness, heaven marked that moment as seed. And now, those seeds are ready to bloom into blessings you didn't expect. There's a law in the spirit: what is recorded will be rewarded. Every unnoticed act of obedience, every hidden struggle you overcame, these are credits in heaven's economy. When God repays, He does not only return what was taken, He multiplies it. Just as a gardener stores rainwater for the dry season, God has been storing your tears for the day of renewal. That day is approaching. Sometimes it feels like life has been unfair, like your goodness has gone unrewarded, but picture a tree, its roots stretch deeper when no one is watching. Underground, unseen, it gathers strength. Then suddenly, in a single season, fruit appears everywhere. That is how your reward comes suddenly, yet after long preparation. The ledger of heaven is being opened now, and your name is written on the pages of divine repayment. But remember, when God blesses you, it's not just for you. Blessing is both gift and assignment. The overflow you receive is meant to water others. When you share light, you multiply it. When you give from your abundance, you sustain the cycle of grace that once sustained you. That's why, if this message touches your spirit, let your action reflect your gratitude. A simple gesture, a like, a share, a subscription, or even a small donation becomes more than support. It's like planting a seed into the soil of divine truth. Each click, each offering is like pouring oil into the lamp that keeps this flame of faith burning for others still in the dark. You're not just engaging, you're participating in a ministry of light. Think of it this way: when you pour water into another's cup, heaven refills yours from an endless spring. What you give in faith, God multiplies in unseen ways. So if you feel that quiet stirring in your heart, the gentle nudge to sow back into what nourished you, follow it, not out of pressure, but out of purpose. Because generosity is one of heaven's languages, and your act of giving speaks loudly in the unseen realm. The scales of heaven are not only for justice, they are also for reward. You are stepping into a season where both meet. Heaven remembers. Chosen one. Your story has been written line by line in eternal ink. The pages are about to turn, and what comes next will silence every doubt, every lie, every whisper that ever questioned your worth. Your tears were not wasted, they were investments. Your endurance was not unnoticed, it was recorded. And soon, you will see the return on heaven's keeping. The tables are turning. Chosen one. Heaven has declared a reversal. What once seemed set against you is now bending in your favor. The hands that pushed you down are trembling. The voices that spoke against you are being silenced, and the very stones thrown to wound you are becoming the foundation of your next level. Everything is shifting, not by your strength, but by divine decree. You have entered the season where the last becomes first, the overlooked becomes elevated, and the forgotten becomes celebrated. There is a rhythm to divine justice, a mysterious symmetry that eventually restores what was broken. For a time, it appeared as though evil triumphed, as though the wicked flourished while you suffered in silence. But heaven is never unjust. The delay was deliberate. God allowed certain moments to stretch so that the weight of your reward would match the depth of your endurance. Every wrong endured has become the seed of a miracle waiting to bloom. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 7, "Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance. And so you will inherit a double portion in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours." This is what divine reversal looks like: double for every sorrow, joy in place of humiliation, peace where turmoil once ruled. You are about to see how powerfully God compensates His chosen ones. The tables are not merely turning, they are being rebuilt to seat you at their head. Understand, this reversal does not always come in thunder. Sometimes it comes in whispers. A small opportunity opens, a conversation shifts, a forgotten connection resurfaces. Pay attention to these subtle signs. They are the first ripples of a greater tide. Heaven rarely announces restoration with fanfare, it moves quietly, humbling the proud and lifting the pure in heart. The same mouths that cursed you will soon bless you. The same eyes that look down on you will watch you rise with awe. You have carried humiliation for too long. You wore patience like armor, even when it felt heavy. You stayed silent when you could have defended yourself. You chose grace over retaliation, and heaven took note. The divine records from the previous season are being brought before the throne now, and the verdict is in your favor. God is not just restoring what was stolen, He is multiplying it. What you thought was lost forever is returning in abundance, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Yet this reversal is not only external, it is internal. The tables are turning inside your spirit. Fear is giving way to confidence, despair to hope, and doubt to conviction. You are realizing that what they did to you cannot define you. Their betrayal was a chapter, not the entire book. Their lies were loud, but truth has a longer echo. You are stepping into a strength that cannot be faked, a peace born of survival, a confidence born of scars. Soon, people will say, "How did it happen so suddenly?" They won't know the years of crushing, the nights of weeping, the prayers whispered through exhaustion. They will see only the glory, not the groaning that preceded it. But heaven knows, and heaven will ensure that your reward matches your endurance. Now, pause for a moment. Let this truth sink into your spirit. You are in the turning. Every obstacle, every delay, every injustice, it's all being reversed. This is your divine pivot, the moment when everything that worked against you starts working for you. The favor that was withheld is being released. The destiny that was delayed is accelerating. The promise that was silent is speaking again. And as a prophetic act of agreement, type 888 in the comments below. That number symbolizes new beginnings, divine alignment, and cycles of endless restoration. It's not superstition, it's declaration. When you type it, you are testifying that you believe in the turnaround God has promised. You're saying, "I am ready for the tables to turn in my favor." Heaven responds to faith, and this small act carries prophetic weight. You have reached the divine inflection point. Nothing will remain the same after this. Every struggle has been an ingredient in your elevation. Every tear a drop of oil for your anointing. The tables are turning. Chosen one, and when they do, you will realize it was never revenge you wanted, but redemption. And that, beloved, is exactly what God is bringing. The weight of glory after the wound is heavy. Chosen one, but it is holy. You are standing in a strange place between what hurt you and what healed you, between the ashes of yesterday and the crown of tomorrow. You have bled, you have broken, and yet you breathe. That alone is a miracle. What others saw as your ending was only the cracking of a vessel meant to carry more light. God never wastes a wound. Every scar you carry has been transformed into sacred ink, writing strength across the pages of your soul. There is a heaviness that comes after deep pain, not the heaviness of sorrow, but the weight of purpose. When you walk through valleys and survive, heaven increases your capacity to carry its glory. The greater the suffering, the greater the substance of what you carry now. You may feel weary, but that weariness is proof of your transformation. You are not who you were before the wound. Something in you has shifted forever. The surface has hardened, but the spirit beneath has become tender, refined, and radiant. You have learned through suffering what comfort alone could never teach. The wound became your tutor, instructing you in endurance, compassion, and discernment. You now recognize pain in others because you have wrestled with your own. Your voice carries an authority that can only come from survival. When you speak peace, it is not theory, it is testimony. When you offer hope, it is not hollow, it is hard-won truth. According to what is revealed in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. You see, heaven does not measure time the way we do. What felt like years of agony is but a moment in eternity's eyes, and yet that moment produced a glory that will outlast a lifetime. The scales of heaven always tip toward redemption. Every affliction that sought to destroy you has become an ingredient in divine elevation. God has turned wounds into windows so that light can pass through you freely. But carrying glory is not without its cost. The weight of it changes how you walk, how you see, how you speak. You no longer have the luxury of small talk, shallow faith, or casual living. Glory demands depth. The things that used to satisfy you no longer do, because your spirit has tasted something higher. You have become aware of heaven's pulse, and you can no longer move to the rhythm of the world. This separation may feel lonely, but it is holy. God separates not to punish, but to sanctify. The wound also taught you reverence. You no longer question God's timing. Because you have seen what his delay produces, you no longer envy others' journeys. Because you have learned that hidden seasons are sacred, you now understand that the breaking was necessary to remove pride, to birth humility, to teach dependency. Glory cannot rest on arrogance, it rests on surrender. And you, through tears, have surrendered. Look back for a moment, not to dwell, but to recognize the distance you've traveled. The version of you that once trembled in fear now walks in quiet strength. The person who once sought validation now moves with purpose. The same heart that was crushed has become a channel of healing for others. You are not just surviving, you are radiating. Your pain has been repurposed into ministry. Every time you comfort another, you pour out oil drawn from your own healing. There will be days when the weight feels like too much, when the calling feels heavier than your hands can hold. On those days, remember the wound. Remember the fire that didn't consume you, the nights that didn't end you. The same God who sustained you then will sustain you now. His glory may feel weighty, but it will never crush you. You were built to carry it. And when you look around and see others still trapped in the pain you've overcome, don't forget what it felt like. The wound made you wise so that your wisdom could become a bridge for those still bleeding. Speak softly to them. Remind them that pain does not mean abandonment, that breaking does not mean the end. You carry proof of resurrection in your spirit. The wound was the price, but glory is the reward. Let the memory of pain become a melody of praise. Let the scars on your soul remind you that survival was never the goal, transformation was. You have been transformed, not just into a survivor, but into a vessel of divine radiance. The weight you feel now is heaven resting upon you, trusting you with more than you once thought you could bear. And this weight of glory is the sign that the wound has done its work. When God steps into the room, everything changes, and it is not always with thunder, not always with trembling earth or flashes of lightning. Sometimes it happens in silence, in the still breath between heartbeats. One moment you are surrounded by confusion, and the next peace descends like a gentle wind. His presence carries an authority that no darkness can resist. When God steps in, time bends, pain pauses, and the impossible bows. You have felt it before. Chosen one, that sudden shift, that sacred stillness that tells your spirit you are not alone. It comes without announcement. It interrupts despair and silences fear. In that holy moment, you sense what words cannot contain. God Himself has entered your atmosphere. The weight of His presence rearranges everything. Anxiety becomes calm. Shame dissolves, and even the air feels different, cleaner, lighter, alive. Sometimes He enters to comfort, sometimes He enters to confront. His arrival is both tender and terrifying. Tender, because His love wraps around you like light. Terrifying, because His holiness reveals every hidden shadow. When He steps into the room, nothing false can stand. Pretense crumbles. Pride is stripped away, and truth begins to breathe again. You may tremble under the clarity of His gaze, but it is the trembling that precedes freedom. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 17. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In His love He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. These words are more than poetry, they are prophecy fulfilled in you. God has stepped into your story not just to rescue, but to rejoice. He delights in you. The same God who spoke galaxies into existence now sings over your name. His song does not echo condemnation, it carries restoration. The sound of His voice redefines your worth and silences the echoes of every lie spoken against you. When His presence fills a space, it does not merely change the atmosphere, it changes identities. Jacob becomes Israel, Saul becomes Paul, the broken become bearers of glory, and you too are being renamed. The labels the world placed on you, failure, unworthy, forgotten, are being burned away by the fire of His gaze. When God steps in, He does not merely comfort what is broken, He recreates it. You may not see it all at once. Sometimes the transformation unfolds quietly, like dawn breaking through the horizon. Light creeps in softly, but steadily, until darkness cannot remain. The depression that once clung to you begins to loosen. The guilt that weighed you down begins to lift. You start to breathe again, not because the situation has changed, but because His presence has. That is the miracle of divine nearness. The external may still look chaotic, but within peace reigns unshaken. There are rooms in your life that God is entering now, rooms you've kept closed for years. Memories you buried, wounds you ignored, dreams you gave up on. His light is stepping in, not to shame you, but to heal you. Let Him. The walls you built to protect yourself have also kept healing out. When God steps in, He does not invade. He invites. He knocks gently, waiting for your permission to turn desolation into dwelling. And when He comes, He brings restoration with Him. Relationships you thought were lost can be mended. Opportunities that seemed gone forever can be revived. Even the parts of you that you believed were too damaged to recover will feel the warmth of his touch. Nothing is too hard, too late, or too broken when God steps in. This is the same presence that silenced lions in Daniel's den, that walked with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. That same God walks with you now. The flames that once threatened to destroy you are being transformed into the light that reveals his glory. You have not been forgotten. You have been chosen to host his presence in a world that desperately needs to feel it. When God steps into the room, even silence becomes sacred. Every breath becomes prayer, every tear becomes worship. You begin to understand that miracles are not always dramatic, they are often disguised as peace. The true sign of divine visitation is not noise, but stillness, the kind that settles deep in your soul and whispers, "All is well, so chosen one. Open the door. The King has entered, and nothing will remain the same." The presence that once hovered over the waters now rests within you. You are not merely standing in the room where God stepped in, you have become the room, his dwelling place, his vessel, his voice in the earth. Judgment is at the door, chosen one. Not the kind that comes to destroy, but the kind that comes to restore balance, divine justice moving like a river through everything that has been out of alignment. The cries of the righteous have reached heaven's courts, and the gavel is about to fall. What was delayed is now being decided. The season of injustice is closing, and the reign of truth is dawning. You have been faithful in silence, patient in pain, and steadfast in waiting. Now heaven responds. Judgment is not a threat for the righteous, it is a promise. It is the moment when everything hidden in darkness must face the light. Every scheme, every deception, every injustice that went unaddressed will now be confronted by divine order. The Lion of Judah has risen, and his roar shakes the systems of corruption. Nothing and no one escapes the gaze of the Almighty. There is a trembling happening in unseen realms. You can feel it in your spirit, the air thick with the weight of reckoning. Heaven's armies are on the move, aligning outcomes, shifting thrones, and removing impostors who have exalted themselves at the expense of the innocent. This is not chaos. This is correction. The same God who judges the proud is the one who lifts the humble. The ancient words recorded in the book of Proverbs in chapter 11, verse 21. Declare, "Be sure of this, the wicked will not go unpunished, but the righteous will go free." These words are unfolding now. The wicked may have built their platforms on deceit, but those structures are crumbling. The truth that was silenced is finding its voice again. And you, chosen one, are part of that voice. The purity of your endurance has called for divine attention. Every injustice you endured without retaliation has become a seed in heaven's field, and harvest time has come. Do not confuse divine judgment with human revenge. Judgment from God is holy. It is justice with mercy woven through it. His purpose is not to destroy, but to correct, to bring every imbalance into alignment with his truth. The scales are being recalibrated, not by emotion, but by eternal wisdom. Those who mocked your prayers will soon witness their power. Those who exploited your goodness will learn that kindness is not weakness, it is strength restrained until the right moment. Heaven is moving swiftly now. There will be reversals that defy explanation, exposures that shock even those who thought they knew everything. People will ask, how did this happen so suddenly? But the truth is, it was never sudden. Heaven was simply waiting for the appointed hour. And that hour has arrived. You are standing at the threshold of divine correction. What others called coincidence will soon be recognized as consequence. Yet you must not gloat. The true mark of maturity is compassion even in vindication. When judgment comes, do not look down on those who opposed you. Look up, giving glory to the one who judged rightly. For the same mercy that covered you will also reach for them. Still, do not be mistaken, mercy does not mean exemption. Every soul must face the weight of its choices. What was done in shadows will answer to the light. But for you, beloved, this judgment is liberation. You are being released from burdens that were never yours to carry. False blame, spiritual warfare, generational injustice. The breaking you feel is not destruction. It's the sound of chains falling. As the earth shakes with divine realignment, heaven is calling you to stand still and witness the justice of God. Do not try to intervene, simply remain positioned in purity. The same power that once defended prophets, that vindicated the innocent, that parted seas for deliverance, that power stands beside you now. Pause for a sacred act of faith. Comment, I am ready. These 3 words are not a casual phrase. They are a declaration of surrender and alignment. When you write them, you are telling heaven, I trust your justice. I release control. I welcome your correction and your favor. It is a spiritual statement that says you are prepared for what comes next, not with fear, but with faith, because what comes next is freedom. The season of false accusation is ending. The cycle of delay is breaking. The power of truth is rising. Judgment is not against you, chosen one, it is for you. And as heaven's gavel strikes, the echo that follows will not sound like punishment, it will sound like deliverance. Your light terrifies the darkness, chosen one. Not because it shouts, not because it fights, but because it simply shines. You carry within you a radiance that can't be imitated, a glow forged through suffering and surrender. Every step you take in truth sends ripples through unseen realms. Demons remember your endurance. Hell knows your name not from defeat, but from the times you refuse to give up. You might not realize how bright you've become. After walking through so many shadows, light now lives naturally in you. When you enter a room, conversations shift. People either feel peace or discomfort because what you carry exposes what they hide. This is not arrogance, it's awareness. You are no longer ordinary. You are a walking testimony that light still wins. But here is the mystery: light doesn't fight the dark, it simply appears, and darkness disappears. You don't have to prove anything, explain anything, or defend your glow. Just live. The more you live in truth, the more lies lose power around you. The enemy's tactic has always been to make you doubt your own brightness, to convince you that humility means hiding. But heaven never told you to dim your flame, only to keep it pure. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That's not just a verse, it's your reality. You are the living embodiment of that truth. You have been through enough to know that light does not lose. Every battle you thought broke you only increased your wattage. Every wound became a window for more glory to shine through. Your scars glow now, and the darkness can't stand it. Still, remember, light carries responsibility. A lighthouse doesn't argue with the storm, it just keeps shining. You are that lighthouse now, a signal for others lost in waves you've already conquered. Some will mock your glow, others will find safety in it. Don't dim to make anyone comfortable. Keep shining, not to boast, but to guide. You may not preach sermons or perform miracles, but every act of kindness, every prayer whispered for someone else, every word spoken in truth, it's all light. The world is drowning in shadows, and your consistency has become resistance. You are the quiet miracle in someone's chaos. Imagine your heart as a lantern and these words as oil being poured into it. Every time you receive revelation, share it or live it out, the flame grows steadier. But even the brightest lamp needs fuel. That's why connection matters. When you interact, when you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you're not feeding ego. You're feeding fire. You're keeping the signal strong enough for someone else to see it through their own darkness. And when you give, when you sow into this flow of light, it's like adding oil to the lamp that never goes out. Your generosity becomes part of a chain reaction light, multiplying light. Maybe you don't even realize how one small act, your comment, your gift, your time can reach someone on the edge of giving up. It's a ripple effect of grace. Think of it like planting lanterns on a long path through the forest. Each one you help light guides another traveler toward home. That's what your engagement does. You're not supporting a message, you're building a movement of light bearers. A single spark in a night sky seems small, but gather enough of them, and you have a constellation guiding generations. So if your spirit feels stirred, if this message resonates deep within you, don't let it fade into passing inspiration. Like this message as a gesture of agreement, share it so that another soul might find their way out of the dark. Subscribe to stay connected to the rhythm of revelation. And if you feel led, donate as an act of gratitude and faith. You're not giving to a person, you're giving to the purpose that helped you breathe again. Every bit of support keeps the flame alive, reaching corners where despair still hides. It's not about numbers, it's about named souls whose stories are still being written, who need a reminder that they, too, are chosen. Chosen one. Your light is holy currency in this world. Don't waste it on fear or smallness. Let it expand until it fills your home, your work, your words. Let it illuminate others until entire atmospheres shift because you entered them. This is how the darkness is defeated, not by argument, but by illumination. So walk in your glow, protect it, nurture it, and let it grow. You were never meant to be hidden, you were meant to be seen. And as your light rises, it invites others to rise with you. That is the true power of divine radiance. It multiplies, it heals, and it never runs out. The unmasking of pretenders has begun. It is a holy unveiling, quiet, deliberate, unstoppable. God is separating authenticity from imitation, truth from performance, loyalty from convenience. Those who once wore smiles of support but carried daggers of envy are being exposed. The season of false alliances is ending because purity demands clarity. You can no longer move forward carrying the weight of deception. Heaven is pulling back the curtains. For too long, you tolerated masks. You tried to see the best in everyone, believing that love could change what only truth could correct. But love without discernment becomes weakness. The spirit within you is not exposing people to shame them, it is revealing to protect you. You have outgrown connections built on pretense. God is filtering your circle so that the people who stand beside you in the next season are those who can handle your light without resenting its glow. This exposure will not always come through confrontation. Sometimes it comes through silence, texts unanswered, conversations that feel empty, energy that suddenly fades. Don't chase what heaven is releasing. When God removes someone, it's not rejection, it's preservation. He sees what you can't, hears what was whispered behind your back, knows what plots were discussed while you were busy praying for peace. The unmasking is mercy, as was written in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 16. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorns or figs from thistles? That verse now comes alive before your eyes. The fruit tells the truth. People's actions will begin to reveal what their words tried to hide. Masks cannot last under the light of glory. The same fire that refines gold also exposes impurity. This is not cruelty, it is cleansing. God is protecting your purpose from those who only came for proximity, not partnership. You are entering a realm where motives matter more than appearances. God will not allow you to walk with those who drain your anointing or distort your mission. It might hurt to let go, but isolation often precedes elevation. When you release what is false, you make room for what is real. The pruning you feel now is not loss, it's preparation for fruitfulness. Be wise, but do not grow bitter. The temptation after betrayal is to harden, to trust no one, to build walls instead of boundaries. But walls block healing, while boundaries invite wisdom. Don't let exposure turn you cynical. Let it make you discerning. Learn to test spirits, not personalities. Learn to listen to energy, not flattery. The Spirit of God within you will give a subtle nudge when something feels off. Listen to it. That inner check is divine intelligence. Remember, too, that the unmasking is not just external. God is also pulling away the layers you've worn to survive. The masks of strength that hid exhaustion, the smiles that covered pain, the politeness that disguised fear of rejection, all of it is coming off. He wants you real, raw, and ready. Authenticity attracts authenticity. The moment you stop pretending, real people can finally find you. This process is both lonely and liberating. You may feel stripped, uncertain, exposed, but in the emptiness left behind by false connections, you will find purity of purpose. The absence of noise becomes space for revelation. The quiet after the storm is not silence, it's clarity. Soon, you will look around and realize that the few who remain are the ones who were never threatened by your calling. They didn't compete, they covered. They didn't envy, they encouraged. These are your covenant connections, the ones sent by God, not chosen by convenience. You won't have to question their loyalty because their consistency will answer for them. In this new circle, you will breathe differently. You won't need to shrink yourself to fit in or apologize for being blessed. They will celebrate you without comparison. You will feel safe, seen, and spiritually synchronized. That is the gift of divine exposure. It removes the counterfeit to reveal the covenant. So do not mourn what is ending. Every false friend who departs is clearing the stage for true companionship. Every unmasking is heaven saying, "You've carried this long enough." The pretending season is over. Truth now governs your relationships, your ministry, your decisions, and though the truth cuts deep, it heals cleaner than any lie ever could. The unmasking is not punishment, it's promotion. God is protecting your next chapter by revealing what can't go with you. Let peace follow every goodbye. Let gratitude replace bitterness. Because when the masks fall, what remains is real, and real is where glory dwells. Vindication in public view, this is the moment heaven has been preparing for you. Chosen one. The quiet endurance, the private tears, the countless times you swallowed your pain and kept walking, none of it was in vain. The God who sees in secret is now rewarding you openly. The same eyes that once watched your humiliation will now witness your elevation. Heaven is not subtle about this kind of justice. When God vindicates, He does so in a way that leaves no room for doubt. This one was mine all along. For a long time, you carried accusations that weren't yours. People misunderstood you, twisted your words, and judged you through their own broken lenses. You tried to explain yourself, but every attempt only deepened the misunderstanding. So you stayed silent, letting God hold your defense. That silence was not weakness, it was wisdom. You were being positioned for divine vindication, not human validation. Now, The shift has begun. Where you were once overlooked, you are being remembered. The very places that shut their doors are calling your name again. But this time, you return not in bitterness, but in quiet strength. You have nothing to prove and nothing to hide. Vindication is not about revenge, it's about revelation. God is revealing your true character in the same arena where lies once thrived. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their vindication is from me, declares the Lord." Those words are your decree. Every false word has met its expiration date. Heaven has issued a divine recall on every lie ever spoken about you. Even the whispers that spread through gossip have reached their end. Truth has put on its shoes and begun to walk slowly, steadily, but surely toward you. The truth always outlives the lie. You will soon see how God writes poetry from pain. The very moments meant to humiliate you will become your testimony. The same stage where you were misjudged will become the platform of your recognition. God's justice does not erase the past, it redefines it. Every scar becomes evidence of survival. Every false story becomes a contrast that makes His truth shine brighter. But be mindful. Chosen one vindication also reveals hearts. Some will rejoice with you sincerely, while others will pretend. Don't let the applause distract you from purpose. The vindication is not to make you prideful, but to prove His faithfulness. You are not being exalted to shine alone, but to reflect His glory. Every elevation in your life is an arrow pointing back to heaven. You may even notice people trying to rewrite history, those who once doubted you now speaking as though they always believed. Don't correct them. Let grace speak louder than memory. True vindication doesn't require you to remind others of how wrong they were. Silence remains your crown. Let God's glory speak on your behalf. As this new season unfolds, you'll feel a lightness, a lifting of invisible weight. The shame that once lingered is gone. The label they placed on you no longer fits. You'll realize you never needed to chase justice. Justice was chasing you all along. The truth of your story is emerging, and it carries power. People will look at you and realize that God's favor cannot be fabricated, that authenticity always outlasts accusation. And when that recognition comes, when the atmosphere shifts and the truth finally stands tall, pause and remember what sustained you: faith. Faith kept you steady when every voice spoke against you. Faith reminded you that time is not your enemy, it's heaven's ally. Every moment of waiting built the credibility your miracle now stands on. Now, as a sign of agreement with what heaven is doing, type 99999 in the comments. That number represents divine completion, the finishing of injustice, and the sealing of your vindication. When you type it, you're not just commenting, you're declaring that you believe God's justice is final, full, and perfect. You're standing in agreement with your own release. Vindication is not coming, it has arrived. The same God who kept you hidden is now making you visible. What once broke you will now bless you. What was meant to bury you has become the soil of your rising. You will walk through doors you didn't open, receive honor you didn't demand, and stand in peace you didn't earn, because heaven itself has declared you vindicated. Walk in that freedom. The court of heaven has spoken, and its verdict is irreversible. You are cleared, restored, and crowned with light. The mantle you never asked for rests upon your shoulders now. Chosen one, it is heavy, not because it was forced on you, but because it was formed for you. You didn't seek it, you survived into it. This mantle, this divine assignment was shaped through your pain, your perseverance, and your prayers whispered in the dark. Many are called, but few are forged, and you have been forged in silence. What others achieve by ambition, you inherited through affliction. You didn't choose this path chose you, long before you were aware of your purpose. Heaven marked you for it. Every loss, every rejection, every heartbreak was a thread woven into this garment of destiny. The mantle doesn't come through ease, it comes through endurance. You carried more than most because God trusted you with more than most. The weight you felt all these years wasn't punishment, it was preparation. This mantle carries authority, but it also carries accountability. To wear it is to live differently, to think differently, to love differently. You can no longer live for yourself alone. Those who carry a mantle carry generations within them. Your obedience will open doors for others. Your disobedience could close them. This is why your trials were so intense, because the mantle requires integrity. You were being purified to handle what others would mishandle. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 20, verse 9. But if I say, I will not mention his word or speak any more in his name, his word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in. Indeed, I cannot. That is what the mantle feels like. It burns within you. You cannot stay silent when God calls you to speak. You cannot retreat when he commands you to move. There is a holy fire inside you now, one that will not allow complacency. You were not created to blend into the background, you were designed to disrupt darkness. Even when you try to rest, destiny stirs. Even when you try to quit, purpose calls your name again. You have seen what happens when you resist the call. You feel restless, heavy, incomplete. The mantle is not something you can remove. It becomes part of your identity. You may not have asked for it, but now that it is yours, it fits perfectly. Every pain you've endured shaped your shoulders to bear it. Every betrayal toughened your spirit to guard it. Every loss refined your faith to protect it. But do not misunderstand this calling. A mantle is not for fame, it's for service. You are not elevated to be seen, you are elevated to serve. The mantle is an invitation to die daily, to surrender self so that heaven can move through you without obstruction. You have become a vessel, and vessels do not boast of their use, they simply stay open. This season will require a new rhythm of obedience. The same strategies that worked before will not suffice now. God will call you into deeper trust, quieter places, and bolder faith. Sometimes, he will move you away from crowds so you can hear him clearly. Other times, he will place you before nations so his message can be amplified through you. You will not always understand his timing, but you will always recognize his voice. The mantle also carries protection. What once destroyed you can no longer touch you. You have graduated from surviving attacks to commanding atmospheres. The spiritual authority you've gained isn't about power, it's about peace. You will begin to walk into chaos and see it calm without you even speaking, because the mantle speaks for you. Still, this honor demands humility. The higher you rise, the deeper you must bow. God lifts those who kneel. Let every victory return to him in gratitude. Pride corrodes mantles faster than warfare ever could. Remember always that the gift is borrowed, the glory belongs to him. In the days ahead, you'll notice new sensitivity in your spirit. What once felt normal will now feel heavy if it's not aligned with your calling. Your discernment will sharpen. Your words will carry weight. You'll begin to see prophetic glimpses, moments where heaven lets you perceive beyond the visible. Don't be afraid of it. It's not imagination, it's inheritance. The mantle has awakened sight in you that was dormant. You are now among those who walk carrying holy fire. It will cost you isolation, but it will give you intimacy. It will strip away comfort, but it will clothe you in purpose. You are not here to impress. You are here to impact. That is what the mantle demands and what your journey has prepared you for. Rise, chosen one. Rise. The time for kneeling in ashes has passed. The days of hidden weeping are over. You have mourned long enough. Now heaven commands you to stand. This is not merely a moment, it is a movement. Something in the spirit is shifting, and your very posture must shift with it. You cannot carry resurrection power while walking as if you are still buried. The grave clothes must come off, the dust must be shaken. You are not a victim of what happened. You are proof of what God can resurrect. You have been through the night, yes, but the dawn has arrived. It may not have come with trumpets or applause, but it is here, subtle, steady, and unstoppable. You can feel it in your bones, that quiet stirring that says, "Get up." Heaven is breathing strength back into your limbs. The places that once felt numb are coming alive again. Dreams you buried are stretching, yawning, waking up beneath the soil of your soul. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead is whispering through your ribs. Arise. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. That is not a suggestion, it is a command. You are not waiting for light. Light is waiting for you. It has hovered above your shadow, patient and unwavering, ready for the moment you decide to believe again. The world does not need another voice of despair, it needs your voice of hope. You have survived enough darkness to speak light with authority. Rising is not only about movement, it is about mindset. You can stand tall in body and still be bent in spirit. This rising is inward before it is outward. It begins in the hidden chambers of your heart where fear once ruled. There, the Spirit whispers courage. You no longer have to shrink to make others comfortable. You no longer need to apologize for being chosen. Rising means owning the divine within you, acknowledging that you are more than circumstance, you are evidence of grace. Your rise will not be loud, it will be luminous. You won't need to announce it. Those who once pitied you will see it in your eyes. Those who counted you out will feel it in your presence. The radiance of renewal cannot be hidden. It speaks through your tone, your walk, your peace. And though the world may not understand, heaven will applaud every step. But know this rising costs something. It demands that you release the comfort of the pit. Some part of you grew accustomed to the pain, to being underestimated, to being unseen. Rising means no longer using brokenness as a shield. It means refusing to rehearse your suffering as identity. You cannot carry both the weight of the wound and the wings of glory. One must give way to the other. Choose the wings. Rising will also test your memory. The enemy will whisper reminders of your past failures, hoping to lure you back into shame. But remember, your past is no longer your prison. It's your proof. Let your scars testify, not terrify. Every reminder of pain is also a reminder of survival. You are not what happened, you are what remained after it. And as you rise, you'll notice something else. The same ground that once buried you is now supporting you. The soil that held your tears is the same soil feeding your roots. Nothing was wasted, not even the dirt. What was meant to cover you has become the foundation of your growth. That is divine irony, that is grace. So rise gently, but rise fully. Don't rush it, but don't resist it. Let your pace be led by peace, not pressure. God is not demanding performance. He is inviting participation. You are co-laboring with resurrection itself. Every breath you take is agreement with new life. You will soon look back and realize that the valley was not your ending, it was your womb. Everything you lost there birthed what you now carry. The darkness wasn't death, it was incubation. Now, what was hidden must be revealed. You have been redefined, reshaped, reborn. Rise, chosen one, rise. Not because you have something to prove, but because you have something to become. The world is waiting for the light that only you can release. Heaven is watching with quiet pride. Your rise is not for applause, it's for purpose. So lift your head, steady your heart, and take your step. The dawn belongs to you. The crown of justice and the robe of fire now rest upon you. Chosen one. You have endured long nights of testing, walked through seasons that scorched your faith, and yet, from those ashes you rise clothed in authority. This crown is not ornamental, it is spiritual proof of victory. Every thorn that once pierced you has been transformed into gold. Every flame that tried to consume you has become the very light that now surrounds you. The robe of fire is more than protection, it is presence. It is the living evidence that heaven has touched earth through you. When you move, the atmosphere shifts. When you speak, chains tremble. You no longer carry the scent of smoke, only the fragrance of sanctification. You are walking proof that holiness still burns, that purity is still powerful, and that faith can still set hearts ablaze. As the prophet wrote in the book of Isaiah, chapter 62, verse 3, "You will be a crown of splendor in the Lord's hand, a royal diadem in the hand of your God." That's not poetry, it's prophecy. You are not merely surviving, you are reigning. The authority you now carry was bought through endurance. Heaven has not just restored what you lost, it has redefined who you are. You are no longer the wounded one, you are the weapon formed in light. The crown does not make you superior, it makes you responsible. It means you must walk with grace even toward those who once hurt you. Royalty does not retaliate, it rules through peace. To wear this crown is to rule your emotions, to speak when guided, to move when led. The robe of fire does not flare with pride, it burns steadily with purpose. Your words now carry temperature. Every truth you speak releases warmth into cold hearts, melting layers of cynicism and fear. But be careful, flames. If misused, can wound. Guard your words like embers. Use them to heal, not harm. There is power in your tone, and heaven expects stewardship of that power. Chosen one, think of your life as a cathedral built through time, every prayer a stone, every act of forgiveness a beam of light. The structure is complete now, and God Himself fills it with glory. You are that cathedral. The echoes of your endurance are now hymns in His house. And just as a cathedral must keep its lamps burning, so must you. This message, these words, this movement, it is one flame in the great light of your calling. When you like, when you share, when you comment, you are not engaging in vanity. You are lighting candles in this temple of truth. Each act of participation adds oil to the fire, helping it reach farther, brighter, stronger. When you subscribe, you're not following a person, you're aligning with a purpose. You're saying, this fire helped me, I'll help it burn for others. And when you give, when you donate, it's not charity, it's partnership. Think of it as bringing wood to a communal fire. Every piece added keeps the warmth alive for those still walking through their own cold nights. Somewhere right now, someone is scrolling through despair, looking for a spark to survive another day. Your action could be that spark. Your generosity could be the ember that reignites a fading heart. What seems small on earth echoes loudly in heaven, for every gesture of faith becomes part of the eternal flame that no darkness can extinguish. This is how the crown shines, not through gold or jewels, but through giving. The true royalty of heaven is revealed in generosity, humility, and love that costs something. Every time you pour into the work of God, you polish your crown, you brighten your robe, you keep the flame of truth alive in a world growing cold. So as you listen, if your heart feels stirred, let your response become worship. Like this message, if it resonates with your spirit, share it so another weary soul can find light. Comment your reflection below so your testimony can strengthen others. And if you feel led, sow into this flow of divine fire. It's not about wealth, it's about warmth. Together we keep the world from freezing under the weight of hopelessness. Your crown is not for display, it's for service. Your fire is not for spectacle, it's for salvation. The robe of fire will not burn out because heaven itself fuels it. Keep walking in that light. Every step you take in faith becomes a spark that others can follow. Remember, chosen one, you are not crowned to be admired, you are crowned to ignite. When the nations watch, chosen one, they are not merely witnessing your rise, they are beholding the revelation of God's justice through your story. What began in private pain is unfolding before public eyes as prophecy fulfilled. You were hidden not to be forgotten, but to be prepared for this unveiling. Heaven has written your endurance into the fabric of testimony, and now the nations shall read it. You may wonder why God allows some victories to be so visible. It is not for vanity, it is for validation. The world needs to see that righteousness still triumphs, that faith still works, that integrity still stands when everything else falls. Your journey was not about survival alone, it was about demonstration. You are becoming living proof that the unseen hand of God still moves mountains, still silences enemies, still lifts the humble from dust to destiny. As the ancient words declare in the book of Psalms, chapter 98, verse 2, the Lord has made his salvation known and revealed his righteousness to the nations. This revelation happens through people, through chosen vessels like you. Every hardship you endured in silence becomes part of heaven's broadcast of truth. The pain you bore privately will echo publicly as praise. What once felt meaningless now carries eternal message. You are the living sermon the world didn't know it was waiting to hear. But this visibility carries weight. When God elevates someone, the spotlight becomes both blessing and test. The same light that reveals your glory also magnifies your character. That is why your preparation was so painful. It wasn't just about skill. It was about spirit. Heaven had to ensure that when eyes turned toward you, what they saw reflected him. Now nations, people, cultures, systems are watching. They are watching how you respond to success, how you treat those beneath you, how you steward influence. Your behavior is the sermon. Your peace is the prophecy. The way you carry yourself will speak louder than any speech. And while the applause may be loud, the true test will be how well you listen to the still, small voice within. God does not raise the chosen merely for admiration. He raises them for assignment. You are being placed in spaces that were once closed to you, not for personal gain, but for divine infiltration. You carry light into boardrooms, into communities, into nations that have forgotten how to recognize holiness. You are being sent as an ambassador of integrity, a walking reminder that righteousness and power are not enemies, they are allies when guided by heaven. The world will see your name, but heaven will see your obedience. You must remember that fame fades, but fruit remains. What you build with humility will outlast what others build with hype. The nations do not need another star, they need a standard, and that is what you have become. Still, don't underestimate the weight of being seen. Visibility can be a kind of vulnerability. As people begin to praise what God is doing through you, guard your heart. Keep your gaze fixed on the one who lifted you. The same voice that called you out of hiding will sustain you in exposure. And when the pressure rises, retreat not into fear but into His presence. Your secret place must remain sacred. It is the well that refreshes you when public life drains you. You will find that with visibility comes responsibility to speak truth when silence feels safer. There will be moments when God asks you to say what others won't, to stand where others bow. Do it in love, not pride. The mantle on you was not given for comfort, it was given for confrontation with darkness. And sometimes the confrontation will not be through words, but through how you live. As your influence grows, you will also see how pain connects people more deeply than perfection. Don't hide your scars from the world. They are bridges for broken souls to find hope. The world doesn't need flawless icons, it needs transparent vessels. Let them see the cracks. Let them see how light leaks through them. The nations are not just watching you. They are watching God through you. When you forgive, they see His mercy. When you create, they see His creativity. When you persevere, they see His faithfulness. Every part of your journey becomes revelation. So walk with reverence, speak with weight, love without restraint. You are no longer just a person, you are a message in motion, a living proof that heaven still intervenes in human stories. What once looked like ruin is now revival. What once seemed small is now significant. And as the nations watch, they will know this was not the work of man. This was the hand of God. Glory after the storm, it is finally here. Chosen one. The air feels different now. The tension that once wrapped around your chest has lifted. The sky that seemed endlessly gray has cleared, revealing colors you had forgotten existed. The storm has passed, and in its wake lies a strange quiet, a holy stillness that feels almost unfamiliar after so much warfare. This is peace, but not the fragile peace that depends on circumstances. This is the peace that stands unshaken because it was forged through chaos. You have survived the unthinkable, not by chance, but by divine preservation. What tried to drown you became the very wave that carried you to shore. The winds that once screamed against you now whisper of purpose. Every storm has a curriculum, and you have learned its lessons well. You discovered that faith is not proven in calm seas, but in the middle of crashing waves when you still dare to believe. The Word of God reminds us through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That morning has arrived. Not a morning measured by clocks, but by clarity. You can finally see why certain prayers had to wait, why certain people had to leave, why certain endings were actually beginnings. The puzzle pieces fit now, and the once fragmented picture has formed into something sacred. What once felt like punishment now reveals itself as preparation. Look around, everything has changed, even you. There's a new light in your eyes, a new steadiness in your steps. The very storm that once made you tremble has become the story that makes you stand taller. You've been stripped of illusion, strengthened by truth and softened by grace. You are not bitter, you are better. You are not merely healed, you are whole. This glory you carry is quiet but undeniable. It doesn't shout, it radiates. It rests on you like the morning sun after rain, gentle yet transforming. You've entered a season where striving ceases because you've learned that God's strength is enough. You no longer need to chase validation. Your survival is evidence enough of divine favor. You have become the living testimony that storms end, that hearts mend, and that grace never runs dry. But glory after the storm is not about comfort, it's about calling. You are not given peace to hoard it, but to distribute it. You now carry authority in the very areas you once felt weakest. Your story will become medicine for those still trapped in their tempests. The wisdom you gained in the dark will now guide others toward light. What broke you once now builds others. What silenced you once now becomes your song. You may not realize it yet, but heaven has already expanded your territory. New doors are opening not because you demanded them, but because your endurance earned them. Opportunities that once passed you by will now seek you, not because of your name, but because of the fragrance of glory upon you. The world recognizes survivors, but heaven recognizes carriers, and you, beloved, are a carrier of peace, of fire, of promise fulfilled. Still, do not rush this moment. Let the stillness teach you. Rest is not laziness, it is worship. It is trust embodied. After a long battle, even warriors must breathe. The same God who trained your hands for war is now teaching your heart how to rest. In stillness, your spirit grows deeper roots. In peace, you learn how to hear God in new tones, soft, warm, familiar. There will still be storms ahead, but they will not shake you as before. You've learned that the storm's power was never in its wind, but in your fear. And now that fear has lost its grip, you've been tested by fire, and now you walk as flame. In the glow of this glory, remember humility. The glory is not yours to keep, it flows through you. Let gratitude become your rhythm. Let peace become your presence. Walk gently among others, knowing that every person you meet is weathering their own tempest. The grace you've received was never meant to end with you. It was meant to begin through you. So breathe deeply, chosen one. The season of survival has ended. The era of shining has begun. You are living, breathing proof that storms do not last, but glory does. The clouds have parted. The light has broken through, and your name is no longer whispered in pity, it is spoken in reverence by heaven itself. This is glory after the storm, quiet strength, steady faith, radiant peace. You have not only come through it, you have become it. And now, chosen one, you stand at the end of this journey not as who you were when you began, but as who heaven always knew you would become. Every chapter, every tear, every silence has led you here to this sacred stillness where glory rests and destiny breathes. The words you have walked through are not just sentences, they are mirrors, showing you the divine reflection within. You are the living evidence that no storm is final, and that those marked by heaven can never be erased by earth. But this story isn't meant to end, it's meant to continue through you. Each time you share truth, you keep the flame alive. Each time you speak hope, you extend the reach of light into someone else's night. So if this journey has stirred something within you, let it move you to act. Like this message, if it spoke to your heart, share it so that another weary soul can find the same strength you discovered here. And leave a comment below with what resonated most, because your words might be the healing someone else is waiting for. And if you found a home in this voice, subscribe to stay connected to the flow of revelation that heaven keeps pouring out. Together, we are more than listeners, we are carriers of fire, builders of hope, keepers of light. Every act of engagement, every like, every share, every word of testimony becomes a ripple of revival that reaches farther than we can see. You were never meant to just read this, you were meant to become it. Walk forward in strength, speak boldly, shine fully, for the world still needs your light.